Are we live? Yeah, thank you. Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, May 19th, 2022 Scarborough Main School Board meeting. May I have the attendance, please?
Sure. Mrs. Giftis? Here. Mr. Kelleher?
Here.
Ms. Leong? Here. Mrs. Lindstrom?
Here.
Mr. Peony Huff?
Here.
Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Ms. Giftis?
She's been excused. Sorry.
And Ms. Bertulia?
She's also been excused.
Thank you.
All right, will everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, agenda item 4.0 is adjustments to the agenda. I do have one adjustment. We are going to remove item 6.0. It's going to be tabled until the next board meeting. So that's the board committee assignments. So that will, we have a few outstanding positions we need to figure out. So that will occur at the next board meeting. Okay. Do you have any other?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. Agenda items. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I skipped one. Agenda item 5.0 is the public comment on agenda items. Is there anybody wishing to make public comment this evening?
I don't see anyone online.
All right, seeing none, we will close public comment for the evening. Agenda item 7, well, new 6.0 is the motion to go into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6A for the purpose of discussing the superintendent's contract to return to public session. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, we will be back shortly. All right, thank you. Welcome back. All right, agenda item 8.0 is the DEI committee update. So for this, I will turn it over to Alicia.
Okay, so unfortunately, the DEI committee has not met yet. The, as you know, from prior. Thank you. I'll repeat that just in case if it wasn't picked up. As you know, the DEI committee has not met yet this year. As you know from prior updates, we used a consultant firm, MAEC, to guide us in that work last year. They had some changes in their leadership. I know Diane started reaching out to them around February of this year to see if we could use them again as a consulting firm. And we ultimately have not had an opportunity to meet with them at this point. So we did sort of form the committee on our own, and we're trying to get it started without a consultant. There have been delays because of that. And, now ultimately we lost a board member and we're restructuring our committees. So the committee members are, I think, cognizant of the imminent need for this work in our district and want it to begin again, recommence immediately. And that's our hope as well. But just to reiterate, that work is ongoing in the district, through the district, but the committee can help make recommendations and monitor that progress. And so it is our hope to get a meeting scheduled sooner rather than later, but I am happy to report that we do have the committee formed. We have two administrators, Kelly Crosby and the superintendent, Mr. Bruno. For teachers and staff members, the selection is, and this is a combination of ongoing members from last year, I guess members that are rejoining us, as well as newly chosen members. Michelle Shupp, Amy Sullivan, Maria Champagne, Stacy Knapp, and Catherine Newell. For community members and parents, we have Sarah Alvarez, Nicole Deeroff, Andre Eason, Betty Kabashi, Freyla Tarpinian, Kiona Wilkinson, and Anusha Ramanujam. For students, we have Isabel Liu, Addison Lanu, Mackenzie Stimson, Isabella Hernandez, Kaylee Q, and Addie Girasso. We also have 4 alternate members chosen, Andrew Gillerow and Nicole Hayden as our community member alternates, and Maya Smith and Angela Malachi as student alternate members. So we will be sending out a doodle poll to schedule a meeting in the near future, and hope to recommence that work.
Thank you, Alicia. Is there any questions?
Did you have a lot of applicants to fill the vacant spots?
Yes, we did. Although we did have, more in some areas than others. Trying to see if I can pull up the numbers. I'm not that good at Excel though. I guess 25. So not as many as past years, but yeah. Is there any other questions? Thank you, Alicia. All right, agenda item 8.0 is new business. 8.1 is the amendment to the FY23 school budget. So I'll turn this over to Kate.
Hello, friends. Surprise, we're going to talk about the budget. If my voice will keep with me. Very quickly tonight, because you've all spent an awful lot of time over the last few months talking about this. Just a quick recap for the public of where we are now and where we've been. This slide shows the public meetings leading up to the town council's first reading. And then once the town council's first reading happened, the town council finance committee and the school board finance committee began their review process. And ultimately that led to recommendations from the town council finance committee to make some budget adjustments. We made some adjustments on our own. We had some adjustment targets that were recommended to us. And at the school board's second reading and vote at our last meeting on May 5th, we made a reduction of $234,837 to our general fund operating budget. You have in front of you, and it's linked into this presentation for the public and will be posted on the website, a big, long spreadsheet that describes the details of that first move that we made at second reading. And tonight we're here to talk about the last action that the board needs to take to get the budget to referendum. What you see here on this slide and the following slide is a summary of the budget that was passed at first reading at your, at second reading at your last meeting. The chart shows last year's FY22 approved budget. It shows the budget that we passed at first reading, and then the changed budget, reduced budget that we passed at second reading. The next slide is the capital budget. Same chart showing the movement from first reading to second reading. And then the town council last night voted to pass the entire municipal budget, including the school budget. The town council finance committee had recommended a further reduction to the school budget as part of their reductions to try to reach a goal of no more than a 3% tax rate increase. Last night, the town council voted to accept the town council finance committee recommendations. And so we have a further reduction of $98,500 to make. The school board finance committee took a look at this last week, or now I'm mixing up my weeks. It was on the 12th. To follow up and figure out what it was that we were going to do to find $98,500. And we arrived at a reduction that was proposed by school leaders, and the finance committee reviewed it. And the plan is to make a proportional reduction to our 6 largest salary lines. This will be in the regular instruction category in the general fund. So all other elements of the budget will remain the same. And this is where that process worksheet is linked in for the public. And the school board's required to identify where that $98,500 is coming from so that the budget categories can be posted at the polls for the voters at the referendum on June 14th. This chart shows that further reduction. So now your first column is the second reading budget, and your second column is the amended budget that you're going to be asked to vote on this evening. There won't be any change to adult education or school nutrition or capital improvements. This is just a single reduction to 6 individual lines in the general fund operating budget, in regular instruction, and all of those details are available in that attachment that'll be posted on the website. And that's all there is to it. The next step after this tonight is for the public to come out and vote. And we hope that they do so. The whole budget story is told on our website at the link that's provided here in the slide. And we will be adding these latest documents to that tomorrow once the vote is taken. And we really do encourage folks to come out. I'm sure we'll be doing a little bit of promotion between now and June 14th to remind our community that we need them. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Kate, so much. Is there any questions for Kate before we? Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Jenna for her reading
Okay, so,
expertise.
the action item refers to amendment to the FY23 education budget, which was passed at the school board's second reading on May 5th, 2022. As Kate said last night, the town council reduced the school board's proposed budget by $98,500. The school board is required to allocate this final reduction and update the voter budget categories prior to the referendum. The school board finance committee recommends an amendment to the FY23 education budget as follows. So move approval to amend the FY23 education budget expenditures approved at the school board's second reading on May 5th, 2022 as follows. Reduce the general fund operating expenditure budget by $98,500 with reductions made proportionately to the largest regular instruction salary accounts as outlined in the supporting documents. The amended general fund expenditures gross budget will total $58,801,486. The amended general fund net budget will total $51,949,958. There are no adjustments to the capital improvements budget, the adult education budget, or the school nutrition budget. They will remain as approved on May 5th, 2022. The end.
Wonderful. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Thank you for all of your hard work on getting us there.
Yes, thank you, Kate, very much. All right, I think we're ready to vote. So all in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Kate. All right. All right. Agenda item 8.1 is the motion to approve the superintendent's revised contract. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All right, any discussion? All right. All in favor? All right, unanimous, thank you. Agenda item 8.3 is a motion to approve the election process for filling the vacant school board seat. So if you remember at our last meeting, we discussed the vacancy, Leanne's vacancy, and how we would fill that. We had two alternatives. We could hold a special election that would essentially need to be in the month of August, to comply with the timelines laid out in the town charter, or we could wait until November, the November election, normal November election, and post the seat then. The preference, there is a strong preference, I think. Well, when you weigh the pros and cons, I think there is a preference that we consider holding off until November. When we hold special elections, the cost is about $4,000 to $5,000 per election. As we all know, August is a busy travel month, and not necessarily when we would see great turnout for elections, but regardless, we do have the choice. So I would like to make a motion that we fill the vacant seat in November during the regular election period. So,
Second?
okay, any discussion?
I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So when you say there's a strong preference for us to hold off until November, whose preference is that?
Well, I think it's the preference of the town, right? The town manager, in the sense that we don't, if we can avoid spending funds for an election when we can wait just a few more months, right? It's the same, as you know, they've been going through the same scenario in the town side, and up against the same decisions, I'll say. And the thought is that is it a wise use? And this is me talking now. Is it a wise use of money, of our taxpayer money, to hold an election in August when we can wait the 2 months? The other thing I did forget to mention is with the November election, the papers are due. You can go collect your papers to run in August as well. So we would be holding an election in August for one seat while people are pulling papers at roughly the same time to run in November. So,
My second question is,
Mhm.
if we make a decision tonight to wait until November, does that preclude us from reconsidering that decision if circumstances change?
I don't see why not.
I mean, if we had a second vacancy, for example, then
I don't see why not, because that would be another vacancy, a separate vacancy, right? Like separate from the first. So we would reconsider it at that point, that we would consider that vacancy at that time, if something like that were to happen.
right. But I guess if
Yeah.
we were gonna make that decision for the second vacancy, then then, you know,
Yeah, could we combine this one is what you're
Mhm.
saying? I believe so.
okay,
Yeah, I would think if you're holding a special election, you
Yeah.
could just do the
do
two.
both.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions about it? All right, so I think we're ready to vote. All in favor of holding the election in November? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, agenda item 8.4 is the first reading of policy IMGA, service animals in the school. This is an updated policy. There was, we were kind of, when we were looking through the changes in the policy from the model policy to what we had, there was an interesting piece that has been removed. They're no longer allow for miniature horses. So that was. So that, yeah, that's an unfortunate loss, but otherwise, there is a little bit more discussion in the policy as to how parents how parents address the need, right, a student need. So they would need to be in touch with the building principal. They would also need to be in touch with their IEP case manager and the director, either their 504 coordinator, or the director of special services to and the superintendent to make sure that it's safe and appropriate to allow the animal in the school. So that's spelled out, that process is spelled out a little bit more. So are there any questions on this? All right, do I have a motion to approve the first reading?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right. Passes. All right, 8.5 is the first reading of policy EBCF, the automated external defibrillators. This was, again, an update. And I forgot to mention on the first one, this is as well, with the update, the letters have changed on the policies now. So both have that addition. Not too much of an update here outside of that letter change. Is there any questions on this one? All right. Do I have a motion? Do you have a motion? Oh, sorry. Do I have a motion to approve the first reading of policy EBCF?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, perfect, thank you. 8 points, agenda item 8.6 is the second reading of policy BED, the remote participation in school board meetings. So if you remember, we read this at our last meeting, and there was a request to go back and talk about how do we handle members of the community members who want to submit a letter for the record. And so we talked about it a lot at the meeting, and the consensus was that we're holding those letters to a different standard than we would hold other public comment. So in other words, if somebody comes in and gives us their public comment in person, that's not necessarily on the record because it's recorded, right? And so if someone gets on Zoom and they give us public comment by speaking to us via Zoom, that's not on the record because it's recorded, right? So it's almost like we're treating these letters to the emails that we get to a different standard. So ultimately we did decide to leave that out. Our recommendation is to leave it out.
Do you mean to remove the public comment email address?
Yes, so that will go. That was
Okay.
already going to go. And then we will not, so anybody who would want to communicate with the board outside of speaking to us at the meeting, they would still have the our email, BOE email address to communicate with, but the public comment would not exist any longer.
And that's because their email is a public record.
Yes,
And
and
so,
email is also a
right.
public record as
Right.
well. Yes. All right, is there any questions? All right, do I have a motion to approve the second reading of policy BED?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, no discussion. Is there any discussion? Sorry. All right, all in favor? All right, thank you. That passes unanimously. All right, agenda item 8.7 are appointments. 8.7.1 is the Pleasant Hill School Principal. Turn over to you.
Yes, and just to start, Jennifer Humphrey has been nominated to fill this position created from a resignation, and she actually really wanted to be here tonight. She's on the road. She's got a kid who's graduating tomorrow in New York City and then picking up her daughter at Seton Hall, I believe, in New Jersey the day after. So anyway, she's really looking forward to obviously meeting the board and joining us. So Mrs. Humphrey earned both her Bachelor of Arts degree and her master's degree in elementary education from UNH. She obtained her certificate of advanced study from USM. For 10 years, she's been a teacher in both elementary schools and middle schools, including 1 year at Wentworth School. For 11 years, she was a 3 to 5 grade teacher at Kennebunk Consolidated School, where she was also the lead teacher. Since 2019, she's been the assistant principal at Waterboro Elementary School. So we're very excited for Jennifer to join our leadership team as the principal of Pleasant Hill.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Do I have a motion to approve the Pleasant Hill School Principal?
So moved.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Yeah, go ahead. Thank you, John. Is there any other discussion? All right, I think we're ready to vote. All in favor? All right, it passes. Thank you. Agenda item 8.7.2 is the Assistant Director of Special Education.
I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Chris Rohde,
Thank you, Superintendent Bruno.
incoming Director of Special Services,
Thank you very much.
Student Services.
Well, couldn't be happier tonight to introduce Nicole Benham to the board. Really excited to have her joining the Special Services team here in Scarborough. I'll give you a little background on Nicole. So she received her Bachelor of Arts degree in Psychology and Sociology from the University of Maine. She has her master's degree in psychology from USM, University of Southern Maine. Nicole worked as a K-8 behavioral specialist in SAD 52 for 2 years, a K-2 special education teacher in York for 3 years. And since then, Nicole has been working as a board certified behavior analyst at the Margaret Murphy Center for Children in Saco. So Nicole's got a wealth of experience, fantastic reputation in the special education community. And again, couldn't be happier to be welcoming her to our team.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Do I have a motion to approve the Assistant Director of Special Education?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Very good. Well, congratulations. You're welcome to, if you would like to say a few things. You don't have to. Certainly, you're not required.
Jeff told me I didn't have to.
No pressure. No pressure.
Well, thank you and congratulations again. All right, agenda item 8.7.3 is the high school physics teacher.
Okay, so John Brennan has been chosen to fill this position created from a realignment. Mr. Brennan obtained his bachelor's of science degree in mechanical engineering from RPI New York and his master's degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Massachusetts. He was a high school math teacher for 2 years while in the Peace Corps in Benin, West Africa. He was a high school physics teacher in Chicago for 6 years, and in the last 14 years, he's been teaching at Noble High School.
Good. Do I have a motion to approve the high school physics teacher?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Great, motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 8.7.4 is the middle school arts teacher.
All right, we're gonna keep cruising here. Amanda Gerhart has been selected to fill this position created by a retirement. Ms. Gerhardt received her bachelor's degree in arts education from Kutztown University of Pennsylvania and her master's of education from Walden University. She's been a gifted visual arts instructor, an itinerant art teacher, and most recently, a sculpture and ceramics teacher for 8th grade students for the last 5 years.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the middle school art teacher?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, perfect. Agenda item 8.7.5 is a high school special education teacher.
All right, Barrett Bellinger has been chosen to fill this position created by a realignment. Mr. Bellinger earned his undergrad degree in communications from USM and his master's degree in special education from Grand Canyon University. He's been a resource room teacher for 2 years at Kennebunk High School and currently is a resource room teacher at Trape Academy, where he has been for 4 years.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the high school special education teacher?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, very good, thank you. Agenda item 8.7.6 is the Blue Point classroom teacher.
Gabriella Joy has been chosen to fill this position created by retirement. Ms. Joy earned her undergrad degree in elementary education with a concentration and double major in child development and family relations at USO. She is currently working towards her master's in literacy. She has worked 4 years in Auburn at the Walton Elementary School as a first grade teacher.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the Blue Point classroom teacher?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, perfect, motion passes. Agenda item 8.0 is adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
1 second. Okay, you did, thank you. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? All right, thank you so much. Good night.